As he puts pressure onto the damage dealer of Helseth there as well. He drops potentially quite low and is going to go into downstate.
He certainly is, and I mean that's one of the risks that you play when you don't play that bunker Mesmer, when you're playing that shatter instead. Frey's trying to get him up, but the cleave just seems to be too much. Once again, it might just be Helseth going down. Kaza as well went down, and this is going to be the mansion well and truly won by Orange Logo. Just the clock tower currently decapped. We have a 2-cap advantage in favor of Orange Logo. So far, this new composition that TCG have sort of created isn't really working out for them.
This is one of those decisions. Should Angie Rev go over here? And guess what that decision was? Yeah. No, he shouldn't have, because he just went down. And that might sound like a really obvious thing to say, but those are the decisions which are going to be able to hold them in a position where they can hold them at. Rank 55, actually, Levin goes down over towards the windmill here, but Triffin also as well. This is a massive thing to happen. RG able to get the down onto Levin, and he's going to be finished off here. Triffin back up to about almost half HP there, will be able to survive. But now Texby can't die here, otherwise they will start to get the map snowballed into their favor.
This is terrible for rank 55. Yeah. This time rank 55 are saying, we are pushing for this, we are going to take the victory. Curve. They already have a cap, and now they're looking for Curve as well. Vermilion really losing out in these skirmishes. We are going to see Snowball trying to get the res, but he's not going to be able to do it.
Not able to get anything Vermilion at the moment. They will get the kill here on Oracle, but we will see Levin coming in for the potential res here. Oh no, if he'd stayed down there, he could have backed up. There's not enough damage coming down, and that's really amazing play.
Oracle is back up,
and Triffin goes down.
Triffin goes down. Curve as well is getting incredibly low. Whoa. That's going to be Triffin taken off the map. Curve just doing his best to kite around here, but if rank 55 win this match, or win this fight, they might just about win the game. Carl Summers and Carver both going to go down as well as we head over towards the mansion. Just going to be a little bit of a stalemate here. Blackjack happily able to sit in that 2 versus 1 as he's going to get some support from Posey as well.
Continue to build this lead right here, and they're nearing 100 points. 5 minutes in, we actually see Am I in Love down at the mid node, and Zor is down as well. Zor going to be stomped out there. I don't think Am I in Love going to be able to get back up out of that one, so probably another one team fight coming out there for Team PZ.
Happy going down though, and all that DPS coming out, you are going to be seeing a couple of people going down. Unfortunately for Zero Counterplay, it is going to be Moves, who is a lot of their downstate pressure there with that trap that was spinning, but he's going to be dropping. Cyndaquil is going to be dropping. Hypno's not looking too hot either. He was able to get a lot of his damage off, and all of the damage that Tractful put out was completely and utterly negated. So Urantian, I mean, outplayed, lucky, hard to say, but still wound up with the kill and the cap, and now they'd be sitting on a 3-cap.
The Abjured did get that decap, full cap at the altar. We do see Steel Illusions picking up the cap at the temple, but 5Gauge going to get the stomp on the bear here. They know it's about to be done, and the 2-cap coming out for the Abjured will come in a few seconds here.
Hello everyone, welcome to On Point, the PvP show for the Pro League in Guild Wars 2, of course. Today joining me again, once again, like every week, Heurix. How are you doing today, sir? You alright?
Pow. Doing good, man.
Amazing. That is a great intro. Never letting the people down. I love it. It's good stuff. Costumes, amazing intros, good stuff. So obviously last week we've had the final week of Pro League. We have our winners. We know who's going to the finals as well. The Abjured obviously winning the Pro League for NA, and rank 55 winning it for EU. We can show you the exact results here as well. We're not going to screw around. We're just going to get straight into it. See TCG losing to Orange Logo in an interesting game where TCG just brought the fun builds. Shell and Mesmer, we didn't have any bunkerness. We had all the fun stuff coming out. Orange Logo came full serious mode and winning 2-0. Sin, obviously, playing Bunker Mesmer as well in that one. And then we saw Mon Guns N' Roses winning versus Chaotic Contingency, and unfortunately not able to pick up another game to their name. Then rank 55, Dragons versus Vermilion, which was a pretty big series, obviously. The entirety of Twitch went down, and just before the third game, actually just towards the end of the second game of the series, so people didn't even know if it was going to go to a third game, and then we went back to stream. We waited for Twitch to come back because it was so important. First and second seed, you can see obviously rank 55 Dragons winning that and winning the league. And then Car Crashed, obviously, versus Purple Noise, bless them, not able to pick up a game this season at all, and they are bottom of the table in 8th position. So results for NA, how did we do over there, Heurix?
So PZ taking the game, both games rather, over easy peasy, which of course led Spooky to be in the position to not make it into the season finals, have no shot at making it into the season finals. So they had actually a pretty fun match versus Zero Counterplay, and yeah, they both all brought, I believe, Berserker amulets, except for the party pooper that was physics, but it's okay because he brought the bristle back, which took his place and doing damage. So
That's true.
it technically was still a 5v5. It was just not involving physics on the side of Spooky. It was just his pet when he brought it in. Yeah, that was definitely probably one of the most fun matches that at least I saw throughout the Pro League. That was a lot of fun to commentate and a lot of fun to watch for sure. And I think a lot of people would agree with me there. But moving down the line, Final Form taking it over Apex Prime. That was kind of one of the ones where you didn't quite expect how that was going to play out, but Apex Prime, kind of at this point known to be a little bit of a tilty team, dropping off a little bit towards the latter half of the season. Final Form going to be taking that 2-0, and then Abjurd doing what Abjurd does best and just shutting out Never Lucky completely, where Never Lucky has been showing some promise, but surely not enough to take a game there versus the Abjurd.
That's unfortunate. I mean, that Apex versus Final Form game in the end was was a relegation game really as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely held some water in terms of who's going to be having to then re-qualify for the season. So certainly everybody, I mean, both teams wanted to win that for sure. I mean, wanted to make sure that they stayed in there. I remember actually SupCutie coming through, and he was mentioning in this interview, like, we're out of relegation, boys.
Nice.
So he was pretty excited about that. But yeah, so Final Form's going to be back for season 2. SupCutie feels like he's a top that they've got a top 3 team there. He says that it's between Abjurd, PZ, and Final Form. So it'll be interesting to see how they go. We won't see them until season 2, but PZ and Abjurd, we have some stuff to look forward to for sure.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think we had some good stuff in both regions. So it was a very good week. Leaderboard as well for EU. You can see, as we kind of explained during the results, rank 55 first. Excuse the second first I've put there for Vermilion. That's just a little mistake, so my bad there. Obviously Vermilion coming second, you can see that clearly. And then we've got TCG Car Crash being one of the big surprising teams to come in fourth. Obviously beginning of the season, if Orange Logo didn't have the issues that they did, of course, as well as the meta not really going into their favour during this season, which Ron pretty much said when we spoke to him the other week as well, here on this show. Issues all around the table for them. More guns, probably doing better than they expected as well, avoiding that relegation. Orange Logo obviously now have to fight to get back in. Obviously, we're not expecting that to not be the case, but still to have to worry about, even in the back of your head, that you have to qualify for next season. It's not going to be the greatest thing in the world. And unfortunately, Celtic Contingency, Purple Noise getting those bottom positions. But of course, no one goes empty-handed in the Pro League season. Still got money for all teams being earned as well. And then we've got the leaderboard for the NA region, the Abjurd, just 7-0,
Yes,
unexpected.
7-0 in first place, right? Team PZ tying with Spooky, but of course PZ has the tiebreaker in both the matchup and the
score difference.
The score difference there. So PZ moving forward into the season finals above Spooky there, who fell a little bit short, just a little bit. But Never Lucky, Final Form, Apex Prime all tied up. Of course, Apex Prime, due to their loss to Final Form and not being able to take a match at all there, they, because of score difference, are going to be sitting that 6th place to be potentially relegated. Of course, we know Apex Prime is a fairly strong team, so much like over in EU with Orange Logo, I expect both of these 6th place teams to probably make it back into Season 2. It'll be interesting to see what happens with 7th and 8th, though. As we know, Zero Counterplay has said that they want to come back, and they want to come back stronger than ever, and they were looking a little bit better at the end of the season, but we'll have to see what occurs over the course of the next couple months. But they do have a lot of work to do, as they ended 0-7 and easy peasy with 2-5, so a little bit of work to do for those guys. But if they come back, really looking forward to some progress being made.
Awesome stuff. Okay, so we've got an interview with a couple of fellas, more than a couple. We've got representatives from Rank 55, from Vermilion, from the Abjurd and Team PZ. So we're going to go and say hello to these guys right now. Okay, so today we have with us Texby, RG, Zeus, and Fantaram, of course, all members that will be going to the February finals for the Pro League, first season of the Pro League for Guild Wars 2. And looking forward to seeing all these fellas. So all you guys all right? You can wave or you can say hello or do whatever you want to do.
Hello.
RG has not been able to join us on the camera tonight, unfortunately, but
Did I get one?
we'll look forward to that in the future.
Hopefully you can use his esports money to purchase a esports camera.
How do you not have a webcam?
To partake in these kinds of
I had
events.
one, but I can't find it.
Anyway, as we are here to talk about the Pro League and whatnot, so me and Heurix want to just give you our congratulations first of all. I guess a question, really, obvious question to you guys maybe is, or how you feel about the whole season for your teams, and we'll start off with Texby for this. Did you see yourself getting into the top 2 and going to the finals for Pro League for season 1, or is that your aim? I mean, obviously you have your aim is to win the whole thing anyway, no matter which team you are. But like,
it's all gonna
realistic.
come down to TCG, I think, if you won versus TCG or not at the start.
Yep.
And we kind of got the better pick. I think TCG is pretty equal to us usually in skill cap. So if we lost that game, we would have been pretty uncertain if we would go to the finals. But we won, Vermilion won, and after that it was basically over, I think.
Okay.
I mean, the moment we found double mesmer, I don't know. I mean, it was over.
NA was ahead all the time.
What?
NA had like
Oh
double
yeah, and he was
masters.
ahead. Yeah. And he was
With
ahead.
Portal too, what the...
We're the space age meta now.
Dude, I
boys.
call Portal, man. I call Portal. Nobody trusts, man.
Yeah, no one
Nobody
listens to that.
trusts.
Well, yeah, you mean TCG not running the portal when you
Yeah.
guys RG went against them.
I mean, we underestimated Vermilion for sure. That's something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody underestimated them. Really showed
think
up
so.
this season.
So, I mean, then we can go to you, RG. What were your expectations for the season, do you think? Right at the beginning.
The beginning?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect to make it this far. Very honest, because every other team was established for a really long time. We were like these new guys, had some roster changes here and there. Like, I was thinking, like, okay, let's just do our best, Like, if it doesn't go well, okay, we did our best. If it goes well, okay, I'll take it. But it went well, and we are actually all surprised, and we actually made it to land. So everyone's stoked about it.
I mean, you guys are like going to be the newbies here, really, as well, because Texby's been there now. Zeus has kind of been there, All Stars and whatnot as well. So he's had kind of that experience. Obviously, Fantaram is just like, this is just another show,
Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know if they've cropped out that check behind him over there or not, but
No, it's there. You can see it.
Of course, I'm looking forward to meet everyone of the Pro League community,
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Of the ESL community, to meet the Guild 2 developers. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome,
Yeah.
man. Okay, right. Zeus, how about you, man? How are you expecting PZ to go then?
Well, legitimately, actually, we did not expect to make it to the LAN season finals,
Wow.
especially not after we lost our first game against Apex. But as Java says, we are the untiltable team. And we ended up just having, our first 2 weeks have losses, but we're like, okay, well, if we focus and just don't tilt and just play our game, then we would win out. And then after we had lost to Absurd and Apex, we were like, okay, now we have to find the new space age meta. And then we came up with comp that everybody's playing right now. And we just won.
I mean, you make jokes though, and it's like, it is funny. I mean, I give you that, but at the same time, it's like, that is a huge problem with NA, is that everybody just tilts. Like, it's a huge problem. I mean, you look at every other team that isn't the Absurd and PZ right now, and at some point or another, I mean, they just tilted hard. I mean, Zero Counterplay tilted from week 1, and then you have Spooky, who is off and on tilting the entire season, and then Apex just tilting, I don't know, all the time, kind of, for some reason. I don't really know why. And it's like it caused roster instability. It's causing like all this stuff, and yet PZ still 2 games dropped the very first 2 games, and then smooth sailing for the rest of the season. Man, I have to give you respect for that. I do. I have to.
But a lot of teams had teams. I mean, if we ask Fanta, and then we can quickly talk about that and how other teams did, obviously, during the season, because there's a lot of, surprising results and teams being in different positions. But Fanta, in all honesty, did you think that you were not going to place first in the league? And it doesn't mean that you have to. It's not like sounding egotistical or up yourselves or whatever. Because it's just the facts. Is that the Abjord, pretty much number 1 team in the world, right?
We definitely thought we were going to qualify, but if we were ever more nervous about dropping a match on NA, it was during the 3rd or 4th week of the first 4 weeks. Because for those first 3 weeks, we were just let's just play what we want to play and see how the meta develops from there. Yeah. And so we were just winning off of raw skill the first 3 weeks, and then somewhere in between or maybe it was even before the 3rd week, Spooky, and I think Ape, they may have got this from PZ, but we were just queuing ladder, and Spooky played double Mesmer, triple Revenant, and we actually lost them. And then we started scrimming PZ, and they started running double Mez, and we didn't have time before the 4th week to actually re-roll. And we were facing Final Form, and we figured every single team's going to re-roll to this comp, especially against us, because they know they're not going to beat us just playing regular stuff. Yeah. But we had scrimmed PZ so much against the double Mesmer comp, and we knew we actually did pretty well against it, that we thought, okay, if PZ's the best at this comp, we'll just play our regular stuff against Final Form and win. And we did. We actually almost lost Kylo, but we did really well on Temple. So. Right. And then over the 4-week break, we were just okay. We're all re-rolling to stuff.
If you had swapped Spooky with Final Form, do you think that you guys would still be sitting here 7-0?
We would probably be 6-1 or something, yeah. Because Final Form, I think, swapped later than everybody else, and they were probably less active than most of the teams, so they didn't have enough practice on it. So, probably, yeah.
Fair
Interesting.
Play. So, EUNA wise, and anyone can really pitch in first when we talk about, it might be worth just talking about the rest of the league and the actual situation that we've had. Orange Logo, obviously, they are actually in relegation at the moment. They have to fight for their place to be back in the Pro League. And, that is very interesting in itself.
I mean, they were weak, so they lost. They will come back. They're a strong team. I don't think it's anything special is going to happen.
I think
they'll make it through.
They'll be back. They'll be top 3 team again, probably.
It's been like that for a lot of teams, though, right? Up and down. Heurix was talking about roster changes on NA. We had roster changes on EU. And it's been a bit of a nightmare. But it's first season. How difficult is it actually to play in something like this as team members? You've got to scrim as much as you possibly can. You have a break, so you have to be consistent to get scrim partners as well. You have to get that under your belt. Car Crashed pretty much had no scrim partner the entire season, as far as I'm aware, and a 4th.
I mean, it's just because it's a new season, new meta, double Mesmer, everything completely changed, right? Last meta, RNG, TCG, whatever top teams were so far ahead that teams like Car Crash couldn't compete because they had no idea about our rotations or whatever. And with the new meta, even our last game versus Vermilion TCG, we still learned during the games. In the Forest game, you saw we prioritized skills over caps in this meta, and we just kept killing. We didn't care about points at all. For first 5 minutes.
Did a really good job on Forest.
And then we just kept wiping, and for some reason it worked out way better. And it just shows how inexperienced we are. What the fuck?
It's okay.
No, right.
You're right.
It's just interesting, that things like that can still happen.
Yeah, so the meta kind of equaled up the teams a little bit more. So it's very, the bunker, the rezzing, or as Heurix says, the resma.
Yeah, so if the meta stabilizes again, everyone has his time to practice. RNG will be back for sure. Yeah. I have no doubts about that.
Yeah,
I
they
absolutely
will
agree
be
with
back.
that
I'm
one.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
So
I think you would have to be like basically out of your mind to think that Orange Logo is like, gonna
Yeah,
fall
they have
and
some
be
really strong
relegated
players.
Yeah.
out. And then
Yeah,
on top
obviously.
of that, I think we would also be out of our mind to say Orange Logo is going to make it back in and then be like a bottom 3 team
The
again.
problem
like,
was-
I just don't see it happening.
The
Yeah.
problem of RNG was that they practiced for so long with one key member, which was Tage.
Mm-hmm.
Before one important match, they had to get a sub because Tage was away
Not available, yeah.
on emergency. You know, it wasn't like he chose set.
Mm-hmm.
It was emergency. So, and from there on went really downhill because from one problem they went to another problem. It was just a really unfortunate season for them. Like I actually feel sorry for them
Yeah,
because they
It's
could
not-
have been.
Sorry, Karen.
Yeah, they could have been like even here, you know. Who knows like how things would have developed in the season if they didn't have those events occurring.
Sometimes it's the way it goes, though, right? You got to kind of go with the punches, keep going. You know, I think all of you in different ways. You know, RG, you changed from playing NG to playing, you know, bunker support, Mesmer.
I got
Resmer.
forced.
Sorry,
I got forced to play it.
you got forced.
He
But that's
lost
the kind.
the straw draw. He got the straw draw.
I think it was a
Yeah.
good decision though to put you on Mesmer and not Alcor. Definitely was a good decision.
Yes,
How come?
I think Druid is just better last meta. I think Druid was just straight up better.
that helps.
Yeah,
though,
the
didn't
thing
it?
is, Druid
Like,
is counter
Yeah, I think
with
Druid
You
was just
guys
straight up
really
better.
exploited.
Yeah.
You guys really exploited Druid. Those that temple and force game. It's really
Yeah,
good.
we did, but still, I think Druid is just so fast and has like every matchup.
that's,
Yeah,
Sorry.
of course.
wasn't
Also,
it that
engineer
actually?
is really strong. It's really
Engineer
strong
has a team
defense.
fights, but that was
Yeah,
it, you know.
really is really strong.
But that's like it.
That's
You
it,
you
yeah.
had Mesmer, you had double Mesmer team fights, and we just had NG Mesmer. I don't know. Some
Yeah,
people
it
felt
was
like a
strong,
big
yeah.
disadvantage.
We felt like NG was really strong, but it might have been the combination of Necro and NG because it's so much node
Yeah, maybe.
pressure. Like if we put a
It has a
Chaos
great
Storm
2v2
down
too.
and we just pressure the node, like anything on the node dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
But
But Necro, you know.
next meta is going to
Fucking
be
inviolable
completely
shit.
different.
It's everyone's thinking about and talking about Necro as well at the moment. I mean, this is something that, you know, it's worth talking about. We know obviously who's going through. You guys are all going through. We got Dragons, we got Vermilion, we got PZ and Abjured, and now these guys. We've just had the balance patch on Tuesday, and you know, this is where the testing begins. This is where the hardcore stuff comes in for these guys, and really this is the test of you guys as teams and your compositions and how you're going to work together to get like a meta or whatever we're going to call it together for these finals. And that's one of the things that's going to be so interesting to see. And, you know, how do you guys feel about the fact that this is going to be the first time that it's going to be streamed in a tournament? You're going to be playing these comps, these builds, and you have no idea potentially what the other guys are going to be running other than if you talk to each other or scrim each other.
It's
There's no
straight
way for
down
you.
going to be whoever has the best craft is probably gonna win.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think if you have first face Abjured first, Vermilion versus Abjured, and we see whatever you're playing, we'll just probably adapt in like 50 minutes and just, you know, play our game.
Yeah, sure,
think-
but for the
think it's
guys who
possible.
play first, it's gonna be like, you know, who has the best
that's
craft
true.
will basically win.
That's true. But I don't know.
I mean, you
I
get
think
to
we'll do
watch
so
each
many
other.
scrims. There will be just so many scrims. I can't imagine something broken being like undiscovered.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah, it
Fun
seems like
events
in
was
this
some-
meta it's different. Like Bunker Mesmer was something that had never happened, so it took
Yeah.
people a little while to even think to try it.
That's so
You
true.
know, so it's a little different this time around. Most everything is like things people have already tried.
Yeah. Everyone was like, "What the fuck, Bunker Mesmer?" I know. First time Helsa was in the server, and he asked me, "Text me, come watch. I think this spec is really good. This spec's really good." I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't know."
You
His
know
entire
actually
team
why
just-
he made
His
it?
entire team just BMing him. I'm like, "All right, it's not bad, man. It's not bad. Just try it." And then it's like the most broken spec ever created.
Go for monthly final. He brought
you
that
know,
out.
actually, it's a funny story because
Jesus.
we played double mid in scrims, and we
You
basically
double
also
druid?
stayed. double
Minstrel,
minstrel druids.
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
back then when minstrel was still a thing, and they got pretty pissed because we outstayed them everywhere. And Helsef
God.
basically made bonker mess because of that.
Really?
That's that
'Cause-
final form. That's that final form meta, man. Those two druids running Minstrel Amulet and then two Shatter Mesmers. Actually, it was.
Oh, wow.
That was insane.
The
It's
thing
actually
is-
pretty funny you tell me that, Argy, because I remember the first, I don't know, week of the expansion, Helseth was messaging me on Skype, and he's like, "Oh, this meta is really fun." And then, like, the next day, he's like, "Dang it, Vermilion figured it out. They're super tanky, and we can't beat them. The meta's crap." It
Awesome.
was hilarious.
So that's the
He's
kind
like,
of
"I
stuff
hate this
that
game
we-
now," or whatever.
Yeah.
That's just Helseth, though.
Well, he hates it at the moment, but we won't talk about
And then
that.
his team was flaming him because he can't reroll druid. And then he was like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
make it work.
That's the thing, isn't it? Look, like you've all got. I mean, I don't know if anyone else wants to answer that question about meta and how you feel like you're going to evolve as teams, and whether you feel like it's quite difficult. It's going to be difficult for your team. Obviously, you don't want to release that kind of information to these guys. That's the thing. You got to be kind of careful what you talk about, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless you're that confident, man. Unless anyone
Unless
wants to
you're that
step
confident.
forward,
Well, I think.
Oh, he's doing it.
No. I'm not releasing information necessarily,
Okay.
but I think if we talk about the current meta, I don't think a lot of us here have a ton of practice because it just came out
Right.
yesterday.
He just came out.
So
Yeah.
we were gonna actually scrim up Druid yesterday, but then Java was lagging, and so we can't figure anything out. So I don't think anybody knows necessarily what's super strong in OP outside of Necro.
Mhm.
Just really strong, but
the thing
I
about
think-
Necro though is that it's always checkable, right? Like it's always you could always put it in check some way or another. I mean, granted, people find it extremely hard to do against the Absurd, but I mean, like in theory, it's checkable, right? So I don't know. Doesn't seem like it would be
Depends,
like.
though, doesn't it? Like, what are you going
Yeah,
to
unless
use?
you run two, You can always run two.
It'll be
We don't give him
for
ideas.
us. Interesting
run
for
five
us to
necros,
face
like,
necros, because I've never experienced that. Well, I mean, we played against Spooky some when they play it, but no offense to them, it's just easy to deal with. Every time we've had to deal with necro on other teams, it's been really easy for us to deal with.
I don't think Necro
Yeah.
has ever been
Uh-huh.
this easy to play though. It's fucking. I mean.
Well, it's just really strong.
just
It's
straight up
still the same difficulty. It's just easier to do well on.
yeah, I think
It's very called easy.
Yeah, I think the issue with Necro before, there's potential in the class, right? But then you need to support the Necro, and the
Right.
Abjured just so happen to have the best support players and the best Necro player on their team, right?
Mhm.
So then
Oh,
you can
an A,
always for an A, yeah.
Hey, there we
I
go.
mean, apparently for EU too, because they beat you guys twice.
All right.
We're back, Jebro.
Going back to
So-
that checkup on the wall, actually, over there.
I mean, lag. I don't know. I was a bit laggy at the stage,
there you go.
The land lag.
It's going
I
to go
like
to
the
land
land.
lag, yeah. That's it.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
lag. Yeah, it is lag.
But actually, that is a good point because LAN is different. And I was talking to Munchables about this, and I was talking to a couple of different people, and I've witnessed it. I've casted at the 2 WTSs now, All Stars, most of the live LAN events, and you notice people playing differently because they are sitting in front of a crowd of people, and that is massive because psychologically that can really affect you. And I actually feel like that was one of the things that really affected TCG, or
I don't
I don't know.
I don't really think.
Do you feel like that?
At least for me, I think Zana was the chillest dude ever. He was just
Yeah.
he lost versus Absurd, and he's like, alright, good warm up, guys, good warm up. And then
Nice.
maybe
nice.
play
That's
again.
good. That's good.
But I mean, I felt like, I don't know, I don't think Helsa will admit it, but I think he was pretty stressed out because he was BMing everyone. He was just
Right.
putting himself in a lot of stress. And Levin's always was I think he drank too much coffee too.
Drank too
and
much
Cologne?
coffee.
Helsef
Wow.
literally went in the tournament, and he was like, "Oh guys, I'm gonna get my first place. Just going there,
Well, that's the thing,
But
isn't it?
jinxed it.
If you
I mean,
get-
Absurd played really well though. I think
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone actually gave an MVP. It was Stoker, right? But for me,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
Wakey. He was playing out of his mind.
Mhm.
It was really, and actually Phantom too. four-man earthquakes. I was like, what the fuck?
You like that dagger focus? Oh yeah, that 4-man earthquake, dude. Nice.
Yeah. I saw that four-man earthquake into right landing, and what the fuck? I can't swear.
It's 3 times.
I don't think it's not more. It's not 3 times. It's more. Let's not talk about how many times because it would just it will snowball. It will snowball like fire. Let's not do that. At least I linked it to God Wars 2. But yeah, so it's. I don't know. Like Vermilion, for example, there is no one on your team, and like I don't want to create nerves for you guys, but there's not anyone on your team that has played at a LAN unless you've played at a LAN in a different game, as far as I know.
Yes.
You have?
No. I mean, you're right.
Okay. I was like, Suddenly we become League of Legends pros, and I didn't know about it. Although you don't have a cam on, so it's a bit of a secret. So how? I mean, without like being obviously revealing stuff and talking, unless you do want to, of course. So as a team, obviously you're excited for the fact that you're going to be going there in the first place. But is it difficult for you guys as well? Do you think?
To be honest, for me personally, it might be just the initial step, But once I'm over, it's gonna be over. Like really, it's always the first step that's the hardest. But once you do that, it's gonna be.
Your first
it's gonna
step.
be like butter.
Your first step is the abjured.
Yes.
That's some big steps, man.
That's a big step. That's a big step.
It's just warm up.
But I think you're right. I mean, and obviously, it's as a team. So it's even if one person in that team. Like psychologically, if you're in front of people, then something like starts to crumble away. I feel like as well. So it's like it's almost that, and I don't want to worry people or make people nervous. It's not my intention, of course. But yeah. So
the thing is,
okay, go on.
Sorry, I just want to add one thing. The thing is, if you're in a position where you have to keep your people together, you can't be nervous. Because if you get nervous, they get nervous too.
That's it exactly.
It's actually so. I'll just try my best to like keep everyone together.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have I think Triffin next to me, and Snowball.
Wow, you've already got your seating position sorted out.
And
that is
like,
planning.
If I'm next to Alcor,
Wow.
I'm just gonna laugh. The whole game. It's like, oh my god, no.
Was Alcor a bit of a joker then, is he? I remember talking to him.
I'm just thinking like if Alcor somehow if they figure something out with Warrior and Alcor figures out some way to pick up that Warrior again, man, like that could be a pretty entertaining set of matches right there. With
you're gonna play Gunflame.
Alcor when Alcor played Shoutbow Warrior, man, oh my god, he pulled off some
he's better as a Zerker
stuff.
Warrior. He's better as a Zerker Warrior.
Yeah,
he's
pretty good at Zerker Warrior.
He's just
so,
good
but
at
it just doesn't work
loads
out
of
in this
stuff.
meta. So, yeah.
I don't know if that's obviously this very
Alcor with an axe, like I don't know, like 8 months ago was like pretty terrifying, man. It was pretty rough out there. I remember he was actually like he was a roamer, wasn't he, for a little bit there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he tore some people up, man.
The most disturbing part is that Alcor plays like on 20 FPS on like his crap top,
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's like the most disturbing part. How does he do so well
on
this thing?
tablet.
I'm literally like asking myself, how?
Well, again, you've got this esports money. Now buy an esports laptop and go ham.
Yeah, just don't do a sizer on everyone. Get second in a tournament and then don't buy a new PC. It makes complete sense. Hey,
now Alco got a new PC now. Like since after the 55 game, he got a new PC. So
okay, I think Sizer actually blue screened during the qualifiers.
What?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
I'm pretty sure he did. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun in those games.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
One day he shall return.
One day sides will be back.
Oh, I remember one time. When the game starts, people are like 3 to 1 join.
Yeah.
And like Alco was like in loading screen, and people were like screaming, "Alco, stop!" And we're like, "Dude, it's loading screen."
My God.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move on to Zeus. Gotta get Zeus talking a bit here. So, obviously you were at last one was the All Stars, right? That's where you were
Yeah.
in Gamescom Cologne.
Yeah.
So the difference now you're going to obviously you're going from that and you're going to like a tournament where the top prize is 50k. Like that growth, man, in like 2 years. It's pretty.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
pretty
it's
crazy
crazy.
itself, right? It's not even 2
It's
years.
cool to see.
It's less than 2 years.
Yeah, it's less than that.
That's
But
ridiculous.
I mean, it's just really cool to see.
Hmm.
But yeah, actually, something funny is just to give to Argy. I have a teammate named Muffins. He played on a laptop. He just recently got a desktop, so we know exactly what you're talking about. It's super
Play on a
hilarious.
laptop. Laptop's fine, man.
I
Yeah,
know, right?
it's not that bad, but you just have to change some key. But what were you
Every
gonna ask
time-
me?
It was just really how how you guys feel as your team. Team PZ, you haven't really had that much LAN experience. I guess you're kind of going to be sharing your experience of playing in the front of a live audience. At Gamescom there was people hanging over the top of flipping
They've had
barriers
people-
and stuff.
PC's had more lane experience though. I mean, with
yeah.
K-Pud and everything like that.
That's
so-
true. That's true.
K-Pud's went to LAN, and so have I, and so has Java. But Java used to be actually right before Guild Wars 2. Java was a pro Hearthstone player.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He actually
played a
does-
lot of
Okay.
Hearthstone.
Yeah, he was a professional player, and he
So he's
one
a
of the
pro in
guys
2
over
games.
at one of the ESL guys that we work with over in NA actually does a lot of stuff with
Recognize them.
Hearthstone. Actually casts it, I think. TJ, and he was like, "Oh, I recognize that name." And he was like, "Oh yeah, Java, he's
Wow.
on this team," and he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
So that was
So
pretty
you-
cool to.
That's
find
pretty
out.
cool.
You do actually have quite over half the team experience wise. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. That's
But
an
if you're
interesting
asking for
fact.
like LAN experience and nervousness and stuff like that,
Yeah.
even when we went to Cologne and stuff like that, I remember because Fana was there, we were just kind of like, because in All Stars they sent the whole TCG squad,
Yes.
and we just had a bunch of pugs, and on top of that, 2 of our players had just come back to the game,
Yeah.
and everybody was just like, "Oh God, this might be really bad or something," and I was
Who
just
was
like,
it,
"If we have
Zombie
nothing
and-
to lose, let's just play,"
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool. So,
Who were
I
the
mean,
guys that just came back? It was like Zombify and
It was Zombie and K-Pud.
K-Pud,
Yeah,
right,
that's
right,
right.
right,
And
right.
it
I
was,
had just came back too.
I think Fan had just came back.
It
but he
wasn't
was
that
playing
long.
Because
Loaded and
TCG
he-
invited me to play with them, and it was
Yeah.
like it all just worked
Yeah.
out. And then while we were at the All-Star event, they're like, "Oh, by the way, there's these World Tournament Series games coming up, and
Yeah.
you have to play with your region." So I'm like there with TCG, and they're like, "Oh, I guess we're
Oh
not
my
teammates anymore."
God. Yes, I
was
remember.
funny.
Jesus Christ. That feels like it was so long ago, though.
And it was funny because
Blimey.
Denchi was there, and I was basically going to replace Denchi because he was going to go to school in America or something.
That's right.
And then while he's there, he's like, "Well, I'm going to play now anyways." So like,
Yeah, because his
Jump.
region is technically EU, so it's funny.
yeah.
The
So
citizenship,
he-
I mean.
Basically, that announcement like kept Denchi into the game and got me kicked from TCG.
So it's pretty much Denchi's fault. Okay, that makes sense. That's fine. Okay, so again, I'm kind of asking Fanta a question. Does it matter that your team has been to a LAN so many times now? You've got the experience. You've won some of the biggest tournaments. You've won the biggest tournaments in Guild Wars 2 so far. How
Yeah.
do you and your team feel about going into this final at the moment?
Well, myself, I just don't get nerves really, like much at all, because I've been competing in things like my whole life. Like in junior high, I was on like traveling soccer teams, and we'd go to neighboring states, and I don't know, I just always been competing, so I've learned to like calm myself. But I don't know. I think nerves have been an issue for us in the past a little bit. Like in Cologne, the second we got hyped after we won the first match against TCG, like I could tell we just played like way better, and I think it was because we weren't nervous anymore. Like we was just pure hype, and we just played so much better. So I think it's an issue depending on the situation you're in, like in the tournament, no matter what.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like
I think
even
it's
if you're
always an issue.
experienced.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
it's
The-
like
the
the
main thing-
extremes, right? It's the extremes where it's if you're playing poorly, then you're gonna play even more poorly, and then
Yeah.
obviously if you're playing well, you're gonna ride that wave as well.
It's also, we were playing versus Abjurt and they won a game, and then I hear Nos shouting, and I'm like, what he never shouts. I'm like, what? All right. We'll play again. He keeps shouting. Everyone's like, all right, just play, man. Act normal.
Yeah, Nos
We were so
breaking
nervous.
20 decibels is like
Yeah.
not a thing that ever happens.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I've never heard that before. I was so confused.
Yeah, it's weird because me and Nos are always like the calm ones, even during like online tournaments or scrims. But other people, like all three of the others, get real hyped. But during that tournament, every one of us was just going crazy.
You were. We could hear you with our headphones on around the other
Yeah.
side of where we were shoutcasting. Me and Kalaris were talking about that. We're just like, okay. There was a point during Cologne actually where I actually said I don't feel like the Abjurd are going to lose again today or something like that. Like halfway through the day, just after, and it was just like, I don't think Orange are going to be able to do this. Like that was before there was, you guys came out, and it's just like you could see the difference. You could see it, like you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had practiced on some shouting, we would have probably got those games.
Gotta practice your shouting game. Dude.
So that's what you need to do now. You see, you need to get in TeamSpeak and practice your pitch, your shouting, and all that. Kind
Yeah,
of
and we've
stuff.
seen the pictures too of like what is it? It's Wakey and Nos, I think, have
Oh
both
my God.
their own version of the same picture where they're just like mouth agape, just like the veins pulsing from their forehead, and just like screaming at the top of their also Rom has one as well. So those are the three guys with the fiery intensity.
ORNG in Boston was doing what we were doing in Cologne.
Mm-hmm.
They were over across the ways from us, and Rom was going crazy, and they were all shouting.
Yeah, it really gets to you. It's actually annoying.
It really does.
It does. Like that's one of the things.
Okay, whoever
of-
screams the
again,
most is gonna win. Thank you, guys. Okay, sorry, no.
that's the thing, though, isn't it? Again, LAN, that experience, people shouting and screaming, intimidation, right? Because that's what that is. That's almost like a form of intimidation. Like, they're getting hyped. They're louder than us. They want it maybe a little bit more than us, seemingly. But, maybe as well, your team is calm and you're chilled and, you're sitting back, and a little bit more composure as well is pretty good to have. So, there's different teams, different tactics, different ways of doing things, and, each to their own and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Just something I want to add to that, actually, that's interesting is a lot of other games, a lot of their like big tournament matches are on LAN, right? But they do play a lot of stuff online too. And an example of this is CS:GO, right? So they have a lot of online tournaments, and then they have majors and bigger tournaments are on LAN. And sometimes, obviously it hasn't happened in this game yet, but there will be players that do really well online, but teams won't pick that player up just because he's what's called an onliner.
Yeah.
And he like chokes at LAN or does really bad at LAN because he's nervous or whatever. And I'm just interested to see that after, regardless of the result of this season's LAN final, what happens to the teams that are in this LAN final and their rosters going into like the next season. Like they change that or they think about that or anything at all. I'm just interested to see that. That's
It is interesting because
I don't think for us it's gonna change. Like
Hmm.
that the experience on LAN is gonna like fight us more together. Just
Yeah, that's
how
also
things
another
work
thing.
out.
It's also the scale of the land too, because I mean, going into a land that we're going to be entering, I mean, you have the audience, you have the crowd, but it's not like you're going into a stadium, where it's like, thousands of people and everything like that. I mean, you still have the same effect. It's just, maybe not to the same level, and I think that might have at least a little bit something to do with it in terms of maybe having a little bit less of an impact, but it's still something, I agree, it's still something that teams are going to be needing to think about if it becomes a problem. I don't expect it to with any of the guys that we have coming out at all, but if at some point it does, yeah, teams, I agree, will have to deal with that for sure.
Good stuff. Well, we're not going to talk for too much longer because we've only got a certain amount of time, of course, but I'm just wondering, is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about at all? Or if you wanted to say hello to anyone, or if you want to mention anything that you think is important about the finals, maybe? And obviously, you're not going to talk about your team and different things like that. You're not going to give much away. But is there any?
What are your builds? Hey.
Yeah, get those links out and stick them in Twitch chat when this goes live. That's fine. Just do it. It's all right. No? Okay.
I don't see it happening, man. It's done.
Shout outs to my Twitter.
Oh,
Yes. Make sure that you follow all of these guys. Rank 55 Dragons now have a Twitter as well, so make sure you follow those guys. The team RG also has 1/4 of a million as well, so that's Rank Dragons is at Rank 55 Dragons. RG is at Vermilion Guild Wars 2. Zeus is at Zeus Guild Wars 2, and Fantaram's at Fantaram 1 as well. In the near future, they'll probably get some Twitters for their teams as well. You never know. But they're all on Twitter anyway, I think, most of them anyway, individually, so I don't think it matters too much. But yeah, other than that, Heurix, is there anything else you wanted to ask these guys at all, or are we good? You can pull one out. You can do it. You can do it.
He's just looking smug.
I'm waiting for it. This is why I came to you last.
Okay.
Oh god.
Here's the thing. Given that NA statistically have a higher win rate, right?
Here we
at
go.
Major,
not this shit again.
at major LAN tournaments, right? A higher win rate. So statistically, right? NA is, the better region, right? So, going into this next tournament, we have an opportunity for EU to settle the score and maybe making it a tiebreaker. Do you guys think that?
I mean, you can't say NA is a better region if the second team of NA almost always hasn't mattered. I mean, it's only NA is not one team. It's more than one team. It's more than 5 players. You can't just say I'm NA, I'm strong. I have 5 players in my region.
It's a good point, Heurix. It's a good point.
Zeus, man.
No, I'm not blasting Zeus. I like Zeus, man. Zeus is great.
I'm not
Heurix,
shoutcasted, man. I'm not on a team.
Look. Imagine if Abjured was in China.
Right.
Yeah, China would be a really good region, man. Some great statistics.
Yeah, China would be a good region, man. They'd be killing it. I'd be I'd be out there. I'd be out there in Beijing waving the flag, man. I'd be going ham.
Take Abjured from NA. What does NA have?
No, I don't wanna say bad things about
Team
Zeus here, though.
Heart and Spirit and PZ.
See,
and ruptured rosters.
yeah, but ruptured rosters is a thing for both regions now. EU saw it as well, and it's like Zeus said. After a LAN, it's interesting to see who sticks together because those guys are going to be a lot stronger. Abjured could have broken up after the loss to Orange Logo. Only one player moved.
Man.
They had the power of friendship. They really did. The power of friendship. Only one player, moved out of that. They brought Nossi. It's different things, have happened where people have adjusted, and that's where strict teams bring their strength, and that's how you can tell this team is strong. TCG, you guys split apart from each other. It was amicable. It was fine. But you got to think about that. If they got higher, would that have happened? Would they have split apart? And it's just theoretical. It's not really. You don't need to answer.
I think we would have still split apart. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Zana and Levin and they have this deep love for Misha and Manko. I get it.
They've been playing together a long time, though.
Yeah, they have. It was their plan to just stick together.
I mean,
and I quit the game after the WTS for like a month.
You did?
And then I came back, and then Zana was like, yeah, thanks, B, wanna play.
Everyone was pretty sure you were actually just going to not be in Pro League at all.
Yeah, I know. But then, I guess...
But then you came back and you won it, right?
Yeah, easy game, man. Easy game.
That's how you do it. That's how you do it in style, I guess.
I'm just like... there's always that chance that Abjured gets taken out, right? Abjured gets taken out, and then PZ somehow pulls it all together, man, and just ties the knot and just comes home with the victory. And then all of a sudden, we've got 2 teams out here, man. We've got 2, right?
I mean, if someone does it, it'll be young Zeus,
Of course, man. Of course. He's always got some surprises. He's too nice. There's something about him that we don't know about it.
You know what? That's called. And once we get 2 teams, though, that's called doubling your talent pool, man. And that's big stuff out here, man. 100% increase in talent.
Though? Why Abjured was like the most dominating team on NA for so long.
Consistency is one of them.
Exactly.
A lack of practice also from literally everyone else, and also. a complete lack of consistency from also everyone else.
Because on
I
EU, you always had those 3-4 teams.
Yeah.
And just
which
like
to be
in my
who's the
head, it
fourth
didn't make
team?
sense why NA wasn't on that level as well. Like,
Yeah.
You mean like quality or practice wise, your top 4 teams would always like be up around the same level, right? And then NA only has Absurd. Is that what you're asking?
I think it's pretty much what the comment here
I mean,
is.
it makes sense. Like I understand what you're saying. So I'm gonna add something interesting to this point. Our team had 4 players that did not play the game, and we came back to the game just recently, like when Pro League started, and then we picked up somebody that did play the game, which was Marvin, for a long time. And so, I mean, you could argue that NA has not the talent pool, or not the people, and not the players and stuff like that. But the teams that I was on, we got second to Absurd in the other tournaments. The only difference is that we didn't get to go to those lands because they only sent 1 team or something like that. But I think the issue, and this goes back to at the beginning with what Heurix said, is there are players and people and just teams in general on NA that they will just tilt if they just lose a scrim or something bad happens. They don't like this person, they don't like that person. And I've played on EU before, and the difference between NA and EU is if somebody on one team doesn't like another person, they understand that playing on a team and being friends with that person are 2 completely different things. Because you can work with that guy and still be on his team and not really necessarily like him. But EU doesn't like, they're not just like, oh, I really hate you and stuff like that. I'll never play with you. NA is just like, if I don't like you, I'm never going to play with you. So you have all these teams, and like there might be 1 or 2 good players on each team, but they're spread out on all these teams. And then Absurd is just like, we're just going to be friendly with everybody and just have all the best players on our team. And so that's the difference between the 2 regions, in my opinion. And I played on both of them. And this game is not the type of game where it's like, even if you have 5 teams that are really good and that are really close to each other, that doesn't matter. This game matters in the sense that you find the best comp, you find the best play style, and you just keep practicing the same stuff in the same rotations over and over and over until you become the best at that. And you don't need like super good teams to do that, because you can theory craft that in your mind and do that. So that's why that difference is that way, because the meta was the same for like such a long time.
yeah.
In some ways, I agree that consistency is good, but I've looked at this in other games too before, and a lot of teams will stick with the same roster for a really long time, and they'll always do bad. And then the second they switch up the roster, they'll do really good. Sometimes it's the right call, but on NA, it just seems like it's a constant wheel, right? But the day Absurd formed, we scrimmed and we dominated since then. So like, I think we have the talent from the get-go,
the skill,
and then we knew it, so we stuck with it. So
exactly, you've got to have players that do obviously have skill, and obviously consistency and skill go together, almost like half and half or whatever we're going to say and call it, because otherwise at the end of the day you guys all wouldn't be in the finals, right? Because you couldn't. There's other teams in the EU which have had. Actually, hardly any teams had the consistency that Vermilion had, for example. Because I was talking about this the other day. Vermilion were scrimming Orange Logo for WTS, and since that moment in time, other than Triffin coming in, they were probably the most consistent team on EU, which is kind of funny to think about, really. But that does really help. But like you say, Fanta, you can't take, if you haven't got skill in your team and you're not talented at the game, then you're not winning nothing at the end of the day. It's as simple as that as well. You can be, and consistency, sometimes you can just get into this kind of barrel and just spin around and just think, we're not getting any better, we're just keeping the same people, we've got to switch someone up and switch someone else out to give you that momentum and that push to do better, because you've got someone new in the team, and it just gives you this energy, I guess. Which I feel like kind of Nos, I guess, did for you guys as well, right? In a way? Or do you feel...
in a way.
I don't know.
Well, I have the NA Shuffle to thank for me being on this team, because when I got kicked from TCG and we came back from the All-Stars tournament, I just kind of sat there for a month, because honestly, all the teams were formed for the qualifiers for WTS.
Okay.
So I just sat around, and then Nos's team broke up, and I had already sent a mail to him in game like weeks before that, or days before it, or something. And he has this mail saved in game. It's like, if you're looking for a god like DDLE, I'm available.
Wow,
So
did
when
you
his
really?
team broke up-
Dude,
Was
he
that
got
really
help
the
out.
mail? That's
So when his
amazing.
team broke up, I talked to him and we just formed Absurd, and that was it.
Please post that somewhere.
Who
Even
was
if
it?
He
it's
has it
something
on his Twitter.
amazing,
That's super funny.
amazing.
Who was that
I'm
team
gonna
that broke
go
up
find
in NASCAR? I have actually no clue.
Zeus was on it actually. It was.
I was
it
on
was
it,
like,
yeah.
Like
I,
I can't remember the
um,
exact roster, but
Oh, God.
Was it outplayed by children?
Wakey
or
Wakey
something?
was on it.
Was it outplayed by children? Was that what the name?
Yeah,
of
it was pretty much like Outplayed by Children, except we had Zombie, and then we had, I think we had Zombie and we had Cade. So it was pretty much the first iteration of the actual Absurd, except I just wanted to go play with K-Pud and Reevesy and like my other pals, I guess. And so I just left that team, and then Zombie left that team, and then that had Nos, Wakey, and Cade on the team. And then Fana joined later, and then Chaith joined, and then that made the Absurd.
Wow.
Yeah, me leaving that team made it so that Fana could join their team and then form the Absurd, I guess. It's funny how it works.
Nice. I like it. I
Yeah.
like the history of this.
Wasn't there
it's good to know
one
about these
team that
the original
had to-
roster was me, Ostrich, Cade, Wakey, and Nos. And then Nos and Cade couldn't go to China, so we got Chaith and Toker.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
And
it.
there was a lot of difficulties with Ostrich, so when we got back, and Cade was iffy on, I don't know, it was really odd with Cade, but then when we got back, we just kept Toker and Chaith and put Nos in for Ostrich, and then that we've had this roster ever since.
Wasn't there a team that you guys like? It was something similar. This name was similar to Absurd.
The
The
absurd.
absurd.
The Absurd?
Ah,
Well, that's
yeah,
because
yeah,
Nos made a team with Cade
Backpack, I
because
think?
he couldn't go. Like, Nos and Cade couldn't go to China, so they made a team with
Yes,
Backpack,
right.
and we traded games. So, yeah, technically the Absurd lost 3 games during the Go4s, but it was to Nos. So,
Who you
Alright,
took into your
I see,
team.
I see.
The
Yeah,
monopoly
I see.
begins.
technically, Nos won 1 more Go4 than the rest of our team.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yeah, that's when you were away, right? I guess. Was it when you were away?
Well, we were practicing with our
Yeah,
actual
they were playing Ostrich.
WTS China roster.
Yeah.
So so Nos made a team with Cade, Backpack,
Amazing.
Tarsus, and was it H-Man? I don't know. I can't remember.
Maybe.
But yeah, we were trading games pretty evenly with them. And I remember Grouch messaged me in China. He's like, when you get back to the States, you're going to make like the perfect team, aren't you? Like, there's not going to be this absurd rivalry anymore. And I was like, yeah, probably.
Oh man, that was good though. That was good for a bit. But now you got Team PZ. Ready
Yeah,
to do some.
yeah.
Ready to.
Honestly, like
to do some
NA's
stuff,
always
you know?
been about domination, though, hasn't it? I mean, like you had like the Good
Wow.
Fights era, and then you had like the Apex era, and then it moved into then like a short duel between Absurd, which was like literally 1 week basically, and then it was just Absurd ever since then. But it's never really been like hard competition. It's always just been like just supreme like totalitarianism, just like complete domination by one team, and everybody else is just like not the same level. I like,
And
as
everyone
for,
is
like,
just
last
not the
2
same
years.
afterwards, is what I
That's
thought you
just
were going to
that
say.
in the world. It feels
You-
Or it's
That's-
just the absurd, you know? Yes.
Or you get carried by Nos, maybe, you know, because the absurd was pretty strong.
But something I wanted to bring up is like we were talking about like teams breaking up after tournaments or whatever. But I think it's like based on Boston and how we felt after we lost Boston. It's like we came out of that like more motivated to play the game than ever before. Especially because before Boston we just kind of stuck with one comp because we were like, well, this is what we know how to play. We're just gonna stick with it and see what happens. But after we lost to ORNG at Boston, like we were like, whoa, the possibilities, you know? Like I was like, I want to play DPS card when I get back because I'm bored of DDLE.
Yeah.
So when we got back, we literally made a comp with no DDLEs, and it was the most fun we've had in the game. It was really fun.
That DPS
I
card
loved playing
style
DPS
was-
card
I think that was like my favorite meta that has ever
Was
been in the
everyone's
game.
favorite
for
meta.
sure.
It was
so
fun, yeah.
That was
Yeah,
everyone's
except for
favorite
the
meta.
ring into double power necrowells. That's just
Oh,
What are you
my-
talking about?
just. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna ring the point and double well on it, and everything dies. Alright, that's what you can expect.
Hey, we
fun.
could see we could see that in this meta. You could potentially see that in this meta.
Okay.
We haven't
Yeah,
seen what we're gonna
if Dragon Hunter wasn't complete, you know,
Not good.
I
Hey, man,
Let's just
we
be
don't-
honest here, you know.
Yeah,
It's
I
pretty
mean,
bad.
like,
It's pretty bad.
yeah, it leaves something to be desired, I will say, all right? But to be fair, we haven't seen what everything has come, we haven't seen everything that's going to be developed, in
no
a couple
way.
weeks' time. And you never know what could be developed to where, what could be on the field at any given time to make Dragon Hunter, possible, maybe?
Yeah.
Let's be fair, all right? Just leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that.
Well, we saw on the forums that there's not going to be class stacking in Season 2, so there's a chance that some rosters could add Dragon Hunter for sure, I think.
Well,
'Cause
yeah,
you can't
different
take like
variants.
2
Yeah.
of something or whatever, so.
And that's certainly opens up a possibility for sure for, a couple of really interesting things, honestly.
And new amulets as well, you
Or
know.
if you have like Hellset and Oracle, you probably have to play Mesmer because they're way too stubborn to play something else.
Yeah, that's exactly it, isn't it? All these different changes and how
I'll
they're
make
going
it
to
work.
affect
I'll
you
make it
guys.
work. I'll make it work. Portal Mo, man. Portal Mo.
Yeah, Portal and Mara is always good. I remember
It
speaking
always
to
works.
Misha,
Every meta, it always works.
especially if you got
make
double
the
Mara,
other
right?
team a different class that's not good called Moa, so.
That is a sick class.
Moa's not as good as Mesmer, unfortunately, so.
She's got this little sword. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're just going to say goodbye now. We're pretty much done with this show. Don't forget to follow everyone on Twitter as well. When you're watching this, make sure that you're obviously wishing these guys good luck, and me and Heurix are going to see all you
What are you
fellas
talking about? We're
in the
live,
near
Jebro.
future. No, they know. They know it's not live.
Yeah, like.
It's going to have it.
It's
in
not
the
We're
live.
live right now.
Everyone said yesterday when they were talking about the patch as well, so that we failed that hard.
Oh, shit.
Look, they've been playing for like 40 hours,
For
50
so
hours
long.
straight.
For
They
so
don't know
long.
what the days are anymore. We're live
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. Live.
It's just we
The
were
sun-
wearing different t-shirts just before, right? Yeah, we just had a quick change. Anyway, right. Thank you very much, everyone. Don't forget to follow myself at JebDan and Heurix at CT Heurix. Don't forget to watch the finals on the 20th of February. If you're in Europe or the UK, there are also tickets on sale to come and watch these guys because we can have a live audience, which we've been talking about tonight as well. So you can come and have a look at that because it's going to be epic. Brand new little mini stadium as well. I'm going to call it a stadium because I want to. But otherwise, thank you again, guys, for joining myself and Heurix. And good luck.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Out.
Thanks, everyone.